Hiya. Right, this is going to be really complicated to try and explain what I'm doing. I'm drawing a picture of Wile E Coyote on a piece of paper, just to sort of get size and expression right at the moment. And there he is. And then tracing paper, I'm tracing over him, making a copy of him to a certain point on his body. And then I got this book, and this guy's called, I was just seeing what tracing paper were easiest to see through, because I'm a bit disappointed in this stuff that I got. Now, this book, the picture in it is of a guy called Flathead Phil, who had this Harley back in 1987-ish, somewhere around there. And there he is. You can see his arm goes right across, his other hand just touches tank, and his head covers up, and what his legs are covering up and everything. Take a really good look at him and how much he's covering up. Now, this is my version of Photoshop, because you all know I can't do computery things, so yeah, this is what I'm going to be doing. I thought I'd give Wile E Coyote a running chance against Roadrunner, and there I've painted out, and there I've painted him out. But what I'd done is I was really flustered, and I pressed play when I wanted to press pause, record and I got it wrong way around again. My head weren't thinking right. So what I'm doing is I'm trying to work out in my own head here how much I need to paint, because I didn't want to paint what is going to be under Coyote. This, I've marked the paper wrapper, because I'm going directly on it with watercolour ground to set the paint, the Neocolors. So I've put a little Posca mark pen mark where it's going to have the stuff, that I'm not doing it all over the end. Right, so I've traced a bit of the bike in and his legs in, but then I trace Flathead Phil's legs on, and a little bit of the bike as a guide, just in case everything moves. There I realised how to make the Coyote look a bit more smug, just by altering a few things like his eyebrows and whatnot. So from the tracing paper, I'm now tracing backwards onto the piece of paper, fussy cutting it out so he's got little bits of the bike still attached to him. You'll see in a minute, it'll make sense, I think, I hope. So there, he's got a bit of the wheel arch and frame sticking out of his bottom and his thigh. So I've put my tracing paper back over the top as a gate, so I can lift it up and down as a flap, and I've stuck Coyote down as a flap, so I can keep, I know it's going to be annoying to watch, but I can keep flapping him forwards and backwards to find out which bits I need to paint and which bits I don't need to paint at the moment. This bit I'm doing under the truck and the grasses and things, but I thought this picture was perfect because of all the stuff in the background. In my mind, it's what Coyote's ordered off Acme, and it's all his failed missions of catching the Roadrunner. So I just thought it was really appropriate. These are the nettles, and I ended up covering one of the nettle tops up. I'm really unhappy about it because it looked really real. But yeah, and something really happy happened halfway through this, and I didn't have to mess around with these dodgy brushes anymore, but that's coming up in another video, you'll see that. So what I'm doing again is flipping him backwards and forwards and making sure that I'm not painting stuff that I don't need to paint. But I mean, you can see where the guy's knee is, and you know, all the other bits that I've already mocked up, shall we say. I wish I knew Photoshop language, then I could use right language for this. So do you. Right, that's just a palette that's at the bottom. It's a bit of craft matty stuff. I'm having to mix a few of the greens rather than use them straight off the stick. I seriously need a better selection of these things. I love them. I'm surprised I managed to do such a good sort of job with the limited colours that I've got. I really think that I should treat myself next time. I can treat myself to more of these ones. They're brilliant. I love them. Right, so I'm now putting watercolour ground on to give, you know, myself a good on his leg and stuff, to a bit of tooth, and also to protect the paper from warping too much. So I'm starting to paint into the bike bit, in towards where his leg will be. I've done all top of engine case in there, as you can see, and I have to do what was his thigh is going to be the seat. There's the seat, and yeah, 28 seconds. It took me a long time, did this, but I think it's worth it. It's great. I'm impressed with what I've done with it. I really am. If anybody out there knows Flathead Phil, I would dearly, he's an English guy, sorry, a Brit guy. I would dearly love to get in touch with him about this. That's a bit of the engine. You can still see his foot. And pipes are all coming on and whatnot. Right, this I needed to transfer Coyote onto, because I got as far as I could get, so I think I've just trimmed the bike bits off him. Yeah. I couldn't draw around him because it had totally altered the shape of him. Oh, I was slightly off there, so I needed to reposition everything. So I tried graphite paper, and that wouldn't work at all. It left a little mark on the white bit, but it wouldn't work on any of the coloured bits. So I ended up pulling house apart, and I found this, and that was my first ever, well, it's my only ever marker tray. I haven't finished it yet, but I'll probably finish that online if anybody's interested in seeing it. It's a gorgeous duck. Right, so I tried that, which is like a typing paper and ink sort of graphite-ish transferry paper. That didn't work either, so I resorted to just denting it with the tool with a ball on the end, stylus, and then trying to fill it in with my Pitt pen, and it was a nightmare, absolute nightmare. So I went over it with it's, oh crikey, I said it earlier, what is it? It's what you make a transparent washout of. It'll come to me. I'll see it in a minute. Tan. That's what I did the lighter bits with. But it turns out it was the wrong colour. But what's the stuff I went over it with? Darn it. Anyway, I will remember, and if not, put it in a comment. This brown, I went over him with the brown, and then I realised that it was totally the wrong colour. I mean, it don't look so bad, but when you compare it to him, it is the wrong colour. So then I trusted my gut instinct and went with, come on, where is it? That's a bit of red at the side of his eyes. This, which is olive green. And I know it sounds crazy, but I put a wash of olive green over him and it worked out brilliantly. But then I realised that the cream colour that I'd used was too tanny, coffee-y. It needed to be more this colour, which is a slightly, it's desert sand, which is a slightly more greeny sort of cream. There's so many versions of cream, it's unbelievable. And that looked way better. I mean, it's like, you thought it were a cutout, didn't you? You just thought it were a cartoon cutout that I'd got from somewhere. Right, that stuff, glazing medium, it's a transparent glazing medium that I used, and I put it over the whole caboodle to make it more like the original sheen of the paper, which is a slightly glossy sort of sheen. You know, book paper, the kind of ones that have photos in, it's like magazines are slightly glossy. And it accepted the Pitt pen a lot better. So now I'm just going around the outlines. Putting a bit of blue highlights on the bits that are reflecting the sky. And here's him finished. And yeah, I'm proud of this one. I'm really proud of it. And it's been a bugger to do because the computer at all the transitions, all the snapshots, it's just been a nightmare, hasn't it? And a lot of other stuff's gone wrong, so please give it a thumbs up, show it some love, spread it around, and if anybody knows Flathead Phil, get him in touch with me, please. I'd really love him to see it. Right, hope you've enjoyed it. Thank you, and take care. Bye. That do. Did I get it right? Whee!